What's up, YouTube? Hey, Phil. Welcome. Welcome to Wolf King's Vids. I'm your host, Wolf King. Everybody give it up. Thank you. All right, so today we're going to be looking at a Ben Shapiro video. He has some insight regarding the Black Panther movie for Black Americans, and I think it's pretty insightful. Let's take a look and see, where is it? Okay, here we go.
Is talking about the most important thing that has ever happened in the history of humanity, or at least since Caitlyn Jenner became a woman, a transgender woman. And that, of course, is the release of Black Panther. It is so deeply important. It is, we've heard it's deeply important to millions of Black Americans who, after all, were not liberated from slavery 200 years ago and liberated by the civil rights movement with federal legislation, have not been gradually restored to what all we should have been, full civil rights in the United States. None of that is.
Oh, free at last, free at last. Our God Almighty, we are free at last. Black Panther has set our souls free from the bullshit of everyday life in America. Yeah. We are so excited.
Mattered up till.
It's like a happy World War Z.
They made a Marvel movie about a superhero who is Black in a country filled with Black people. That is that's the change, right? Blade was not enough. Catwoman with Halle Berry, no. Okay, Wakanda is where it is. This is the most important moment in Black American history. Not Martin Luther King, not Frederick Douglass, not the Civil War.
Oh, yeah, man. Not anything else. Not anything else. This is the pinnacle. This is at the helm of all our minds right now. Not our day-to-day lives, not whether or not we're going to pay our bills, not about, whether or not, our younger people going to get into college.
Not the end of Jim Crow, none of that. Not Brown versus Board. The most important thing is that,
also not about the war on drugs or redlining or, unemployment, that sort of stuff.
Chadwick Boseman puts claws on his hands and a mask on his face and runs around jumping off cars in CGI fashion. Deeply, deeply important. Black children everywhere will now believe that they too can be superheroes who jump off cars in fictional countries. It's very important. Now, you may sense that I'm mocking a little bit. The reason I'm mocking a little bit is because I hate this kind of identity politics. I think it's incredibly stupid. I think it's incredibly stupid because, again, I grew up as an Orthodox Jewish kid where no American president has been Jewish. And no American.
Yeah, before he goes on to his little anecdote, yeah. The reason he's criticizing the movie Black Panther is because he feels like it's immersed in identity politics and he thinks that's stupid. Just hold on to that and listen to his little anecdote.
American president has been Orthodox Jew. And yet I grew up on 1776, essentially worshiping the founding fathers, none of whom were Jewish. Okay? And yesterday, my daughter actually was on Shabbat. And I was sitting around with my daughter, and my daughter was talking about how she's talking about the presidents because she's learning about the presidents in preschool. She's very politically active, my daughter. She's 4 years old, and she knows many of the presidents. She is familiar with the life stories of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. And she said, "Daddy, was George Washington Jewish?" And I said, "No, he wasn't." And she said, "Is Donald Trump Jewish?" And I said, "No, he's not." And she said, "Have any of the presidents been Jewish?" And I said, "No." And she
I can see the little yarmulke too.
Said, "Why haven't any of the presidents been Jewish?" And she's 4, so I didn't go into the full explanation. But what I said is, they just haven't been. But maybe there'll be a Jewish president in the future. Would you like to be president one day? She said, "I don't know. It sounds boring." And so, which I think is an astute observation on the part of my daughter. But the point is this, right? If you're not telling your kids they can be anything in America, you're doing something wrong as a parent. And if you had to wait until Black Panther came out, right? We heard this about Barack Obama when he was elected.
Okay, now that he's done with his little anecdote, let's just focus on the main crux of his argument, right? Like, which I think is brilliant, personally, honestly, sincerely. Yeah, he thinks that the movie is based on identity politics, and that's stupid to promote in movies. Which I think is interesting because he wrote this article, you know, talking about uh, in 2003. He's very staunch in Zionism, and he basically thinks that, or initially thought at the time in 2003, that the only way to maintain Israel as a state was to expel all Palestinians from the West Bank. And even using the 1930s example of Nazi Germany when they did that to Poland, which is weird given the fact that he's Jewish, but that's neither here nor there. It's not. This isn't hypocrisy. This is just some weird cognitive dissonance that I guess he just forgot in his mind, and even then still tried to argue for it in 2014. But yeah, let's continue with his other statement.
Now that Obama's been president, Black Americans will feel like they too can be president. It's a transformative moment. And yet, all we hear now is that America is deeply racist and Black people are still systemically discriminated against, and that Black people are still victims in American society. So it turned out it didn't mean anything. When Obama was president, we were told it meant everything. And then he was president for 2 terms, right? Reelected overwhelmingly. And then it turns out it didn't mean anything because we needed Chadwick Boseman to somehow make sure that Black people felt accepted in American society because a bunch of white executives at Marvel greenlit a film about Black people in a fictional country in Africa.
Okay, so that's the whole video. Let me just take it off screen. So yeah, I would agree with him. Yeah, I don't think Obama being elected twice cured racism or solved all the problems for Black people. But the idea that you can't, I mean, I think it's funny. Whoever said you can't be encouraged or inspired by art to do something or have a better image of yourself. Let's just stick to the common ones we have. Let's just go to the gangbanger or the pimp or the freaking drug dealer or like the baby daddy who's trying to maintain a stable family relationship with his baby mama and his kids. I mean, yeah, the idea that you could have a better image of yourself or your culture in a movie, I mean, that's just crazy, right? Even though this movie might not be like the be-all end-all cure for racism, as if anyone ever asserted that. I mean, what does it show? I mean, what makes it so great for Black people, except that it features an all-Black cast, has a Black director, all-Black soundtrack. In terms of a Marvel movie, it's 24-hour pre-ticket sales. They were the largest for any Marvel movie. It's estimated to get $400 million in total domestically. Let's see, and there was actually like an article. Let me bring it up for you. Let's see. Yeah, where the Science and Entertainment Exchange Director for National Academy of Sciences, Richard Lovard, felt that the movie would encourage interest in technology and science in the same way the Hunger Games promoted archery for girls. Getting Black kids focusing on science and innovation and stuff like that, and also African culture, which I think is important even now since China is investing more in African countries. Sending them like cars and cell phones, computers, and stuff like that, investing in small businesses. I mean, it might not be a cure for all the problems of the Black community, but it is, something encouraging. And honestly, I'm all for, like, what's the word I'm looking for? A free marketplace of ideas, so to speak, right? And a celebration for all human cultures. But if you can't take one particular movie which promotes a culture and like the uplifting and advancement of it, I mean, I wouldn't even say that that's racist, nor would I complain that that's racist. but I would say that that's like snowflakeism of the highest regard. Like you, for a person who complains about microaggressions and safe spaces, for an individual to whine and complain and rant about a movie possibly having like some agenda for white guilt, it's pretty ridiculous, and it honestly just shows that you need to get your your gauge on reality fixed real quick, because it's not all about you, sweetie. But yeah, that's my video. That's my take on this. This has been Wolf King. Peace out. If you like this video, you know what to do. Stop out of there. No, and I'm out later. I might do a review on the Black Panther movie, but yeah, I'll have to wait and see. So you guys take care. Hail Satan. Good night. Happy Valentine's Day.